Hey scholars, we're now going to take a look at how much we can and can't use the work of internal auditors. Obviously, they can help us, they can reduce some of the workload, but they can't reduce our responsibility, nor can we allow them to make the judgments and decisions. That's all of our job. So we're going to take a look at various items and various steps that we need to know in order to answer this. Obviously, if they're going to provide direct assistance, the external auditor assesses their competency and their objectivity. Next, we're using the work of the internal auditors. The external auditor assesses their competency, their objectivity, and notice the extra item, application of that systematic and disciplined approach that is so relevant to the entire project that we do. Now, why do we have the application of a systematic and disciplined approach? Why is that relevant to the use of the work, but not relevant to providing direct assistance? Well, the external auditor's determination of whether the internal audit function applies a systematic and disciplined approach is intended to address the risk that the external auditor inappropriately use the internal audit-like work performed in an informal, unstructured, or ad hoc matter. The application of a systematic and disciplined approach of the internal audit function to plan, perform, supervise, review, and document its activities distinguishes the activities of an internal audit function from other monitoring control activities that may be performed within the entity. In summary, if we are using the internal audit work, we want to make sure that it is, in fact, work that is similar to an audit, that they have assessed risk, sampled selections, and reported on the results. Let's move on. Regarding this, the competency, we're going to look at education, professional certifications like the CPA, experience, performance evaluations. Do they have audit plans, audit procedures, and do they have a quality internal audit documentation system? When it comes to documentation of that and competency, I can tell you, going to so many corporations and doing CPE, I get to meet a lot of their internal auditors, and some of them are top of the line. You have individuals that worked in large accounting firms, public accounting firms for years with lots of experience. They have a CPA, they have master's degrees, they're top notch. And everybody below them is close to those skills. Other companies, I've seen where they take secretaries, they take clerical people and say, oh, listen, we don't have work for you there, so we'll move you into internal audit. And therefore, there's a very weak structure right there. I may not want to rely on them as much or utilize them as much. Objectivity, the organizational level to which they report. If they report to the controller and assistant controller only, well, then they're reporting to the people that they're grading. But if they report not only to them, but to the CFO, the CEO, and the audit committee and the board of directors, then they have a direct link to the people who need to know. Is the controller, the assistant controller, and all the other officers, are they doing their job right? So we're looking to see if they have that kind of independence, as well as policies that prohibit audits of areas where internal auditors lack independence. And then the application of a systematic and disciplined approach. We're looking for the existence, the adequacy, and the use of documented internal control procedures or guidance covering such areas as risk assessment, working programs, documentation, and reporting. Also, it may be demonstrated by meeting quality control requirements and documenting them. Let's take a look at the next area. Nathan is planning at this point, this is the planning stage of the audit, and would like to gain some efficiencies in the audit by using internal audit functions at Creative CPA Clothing. Ideally, he would like to use internal auditors to perform some tests, rely on some of the work already performed by them. Since Nathan is planning on issuing or using the internal audit function and obtaining that audit evidence, and also plans to use internal auditors to provide direct assistance, it's necessary for Nathan to evaluate their competency, their objectivity, who they report to, and whether the internal control function applies a systematic and disciplined approach. So we're going to review the following information to determine whether the internal audit function meets those criteria. So let's go on. Here's the inquiry. Nathan is talking to Terry and says, Terry says, "Hi, Nathan. It's great to see you again. Are you here to discuss the internal audit function?" And Nathan says, "Yes." Terry says, "Great. As you know, we have been growing significantly since a celebrity was sighted wearing our clothing. I'm absolutely convinced that's got to be Sugar Bear Olinto. To help with our growing company and management's increased workload, we created an internal audit function at the end of last year to help us design, maintain, and monitor internal control. Management is still ultimately responsible, but the internal audit team really helps support us, especially with testing controls. Our internal audit team, which is composed of 2 individuals, Natalie Rome, internal audit manager, and Isaac Shane, internal audit staff, only work on internal audit functions. They do not perform any managerial or operational duties, so there's no conflict of interest in anything they're looking at. When our board of directors decided to hire an internal audit team, a requirement was that applicants must have active CPA licenses clearly going to their competency and an active certified internal auditor license. Both Natalie and Isaac have these certifications, and we require them to keep their licenses active, which requires several hours of continuing ed. In addition, we require Natalie and Isaac to attend a minimum of 2 conferences a year, one related to GAAP updates specifically for the retail industry, and 2, an Institute of Internal Auditors conference. This helps them meet some of the continuing educational requirements as well. Let's move on. Terry then says both Natalie and Isaac have been working hard. Similarly to the external audit you are performing, they have performed risk assessment, followed work programs that detail audit procedures and document their results. Isaac and Natalie are testing controls throughout the year. Once a month, Natalie and Isaac meet with the controller. Now, if that's the only person they meet with, that wouldn't be good. Also, an accounting research manager and the chief accounting officer and the CEO to report the results of their tests. Based on deficiencies found, management determines what areas need remediation. This may involve such actions as retraining individuals to perform those controls. And then once a quarter, Natalie and Isaac meet with the board of directors. That's really good. To discuss the results of their test as well as results of any follow-up procedures. We also give input on what areas we think need remediation as well. So Nathan responds, Thanks for that information. I was hoping to utilize your internal audit team for the external audit as well. Do you think some of the internal audit hours could be reserved to help with the external audit work, such as selecting samples and documenting the results of these procedures? Terry responds, I definitely think they can help you, but I am not sure to what extent. They are very busy. Let me look into more detail at their current workload and get back to you on the specifics. Nathan, also, I can gain efficiency by using some of the work that they've already performed. Would it be all right if I reviewed some of those work papers? Terry says, oh, definitely. Natalie extension is 375. Please feel free to give her a call. Also, here is the organization chart that you requested. Let's take a look at this org chart. We have the board of directors. They obviously oversee the officers, including the president and CEO, who oversees the chief accounting officer, who then oversees the treasurer and controller. And yet, our internal audit people, they will have a direct link to the board of directors. That's what we want to see. You'll note also that we have the manager and the staff, both highly qualified, highly competent, and following a systematic approach, and they document it. Let's move on. So let's chat one more time and emphasize the criteria is met here with objectivity. Internal audit function reports to those charged with governance. Those charged with governance oversee employment decisions related to the internal functions, such as hiring. This structure supports the ability of the function to be free of bias, conflicts of interest, undue influence. The internal audit function does not have any managerial or operational duties or responsibilities outside. Therefore, they're free of conflicts of interest of evaluating their own work. So that took care of that first one. Regarding competency of the internal audit function refers to the attainment and maintenance of knowledge and skills of the functions as a whole at the appropriate levels. The internal auditors are required to keep their CPA license active, plus a certified internal auditor license active, which requires fulfillment of continuing ed. The internal auditors are also required to attend a minimum of 2 conferences a year related to GAAP and industry areas for internal audit. This clearly shows that they're staying up. and the application of a systematic and disciplined approach, including quality control. The internal auditors test controls throughout the year and meet with management and those charged with governance to report the results. Note, the internal auditors' participation in continuing professional ed helps them with this process. Based on the discussions with Terry, it appears that internal auditors have documented audit procedures covering such areas as risk, assessment, working programs, and reporting. Also, internal audit functions is designed from other monitoring functions, or is distinguished from them. It is a separate department that performs activities specifically focused in on internal controls. The internal audit department plans, performs, reviews, documents, and reports their results. So hence, we've met several different criteria. Now on this particular one, it says Nathan plans to use the auditor's specialist, an auditor specialist, an expert in the field other than accounting or auditing, to help him obtaining evidence regarding the valuation of derivatives. Now, by the way, gang, I want to point something out. When you look at this, a lot of times people freak out and they say, oh my gosh, they're testing me on hedging and derivative activities. No, they're not. All you have to do is know the basics. So it says Nathan will need to be satisfied with the competency, capabilities, and objectivity of the specialist. Information regarding this may come in a variety of sources, such as personal experience with previous work of that specialist, discussions with that specialist, discussions with other auditors or others who are familiar with that specialist's work, knowledge of that specialist's qualifications, membership in a professional body or industry organization and associations, are they licensed to practice or other forms of external recognition, and published papers or books written by them. Now that criteria was with the internal auditors. We really have similar kinds of concepts when we're dealing here with the idea of the audit specialist. We want to do basically the same things. We want to make sure objectivity, competency, all those items are also part of it. And in that realm, we're going to look at it from this aspect. Hopefully that gives you some insights so that you're now ready to try a full exercise.